Well, I hope you remembered to dress in your most formal attire. It's a game room tour. It's a black tie event, and we haven't done this in 2 years. There's over 3,800 games down here, over 80 consoles. Things have changed a lot in the last 2 years, so it's time to update. We're gonna go around the room. I'll give you a quick once over and then we'll go section by section. So make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit the like button. I am RNG Gamer. I play all my games randomly, and here's my 2026 game room tour. So we're just going to start here with my complete Vectrex set. If you don't know anything about the Vectrex, it is a standalone vector-based console. It had like 29 games for it or something like that. Some of them are really easy to find, some of them are nearly impossible. The 3D games, where you have to have the 3D imager, which I own and is right in here, and I'm not going to pull out because it's so old it wants to like crumble apart. The games that go with it can be really tricky to find. With 3D Crazy Coaster, 3D Narrow Escape, and 3D Mindstorm being the hardest ones to find for me. The Vectrex is a great console. It plays really well. Pretty deep cut for a console, but it's one of the 2 consoles I have a complete set for. Let's talk a little bit about the Switch, the console that's the worst to film on the shelf because all the freaking spines are red. I don't know why Nintendo didn't choose to put color on the spines because it's terrible to film. Like, it looks so bad. But there are some really cool standout games on the Switch, some very rare ones. Like this bad boy, Arcade Love plus Pango. This is a compilation of 4 pretty obscure arcade games. I mean, Pango's not obscure. I don't know why they put that on there. The other ones are Combat Zeal, Tri-Zeal, and then Shmups Skill Test. And they're actually shoot 'em up in arcade games designed to make you better at arcade games. They were rare arcade games. This is a rare compilation. I think it's one of the rarest games on the Switch, but it's very cool. The Switch also got some really cool compilations in the Neo Geo Pocket Color sets. The Neo Geo Pocket Color was a really cool handheld console that I don't have. I don't own one. I don't know any games for it, but almost all the best games are on these 2 compilations for the Switch. They're put about limited run games. You can grab them pretty inexpensively, and they are super flippin' cool. I think it's really the best way to play the Neo Geo Pocket and the Neo Geo Pocket Color games. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the Toho LD Collection. These are the Laserdisc games like Time Gal, Battleship Yamato, these games that are like Space Ace or Dragon Quest, not Dragon Quest, freaking Dragon's Lair. There are a bunch of Japanese ones that only came out on the arcades in Japan, and they put them on the freaking Switch. The Switch also has one of the most beautiful collector's editions I've ever seen. This is Gris, and it is this matte, like hollow foil silver case. I think this is the most beautiful box art I've ever seen in a game. I absolutely love this, and it was a great game. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10. It was an amazing experience, but that box art is just something else. I don't think it gets any better than that. The Switch is a really neat console to collect for. Like I said, it's hard to see what's going on, and because, I mean, the spines, they look so dumb. Like, what terrible colored spines. There are a lot of really neat collector's editions on the Switch. One of my complaints for them is that they are all different sizes. So it's hard to like work them in on the shelf with the other games. You kind of have to set them to the side, which is what I've done here. Of course, we have my full Switch 2 collection here of Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. The only 2 games. That console, I went out of my way to get it, and I've got 2 games for it. That's it. There you go. There's the Switch 2 collection. So this is actually where I stand and film my normal videos. It's in front of my NES collection. I have a pretty big NES collection, 400 and something games. I've got a lot of weird, cool stuff on here. I'm not going for a full set. I've just picked this stuff up over the years. This is my Little Samson counterfeit cart where I had a custom freaking wooden case made for it. It has RNG Gamer. Tell me that's not beautiful. And then I had all my buddies sign it. You can see, like, you know, Retro Rick right there and freaking Pixel Game Squad guys. This is a really cool homebrew of the Capcom game Sweet Home, which is actually like the first Resident Evil. The first Resident Evil is actually a remake in a way of this. They couldn't remake this game because they lost the licensing, because this is actually a game that goes along with a movie that came out only in Japan. Really cool, interesting game. I live streamed it, and it was terrible to live stream because it's like a slow kind of like RPG style game, but really cool. Glad to have this. Of course, I have a lot of heavy hitters on the NES, including Action 52. This game's 52 terrible games all stuck on one cart, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it's actually pretty fun to play. If you haven't played Action 52, you want to play it with some friends, you'll have a good time with this game, okay? Here is Legendary Wings on the NES. This is not a very valuable game, but it's one of the most important games in my collection. See, when I was growing up, I was very poor. My family did not have a lot of money, and we would rent games more than we would ever buy. And occasionally, Blockbuster would sell their old games at a discount when they were done with them. Nobody's renting them anymore. You could actually go buy them. And my copy of Legendary Wings came from Blockbuster. Well, my family had money troubles and they sold my NES games, okay? And when I started collecting, the first thing I wanted to do was find a copy of Legendary Wings, but not just any copy. It had to be a Blockbuster rental copy. And there it is. It's a Blockbuster rental copy of Legendary Flippin' Wings, and it took me years to find one of these. And I'm so glad I had it. I think I paid $12 for it. It is super dirty. It says Les. I don't know who Les is, but you know, thank you for your service. And this is just like one of the holy grails of my collection. I have a lot of expensive stuff, but it's like the stuff that's tied to memories that's the most important. And we're here with the PS2 collection. You can see this sometimes when I film my videos. It's like right on the periphery of that. I've got a lot of crazy PS2 stuff. It's probably one of my most impressive collections. Just weird stuff. Here's Alien Hominid, a great run-and gun on the game, signed by Tom Fulp, the creator of the game and the website Newgrounds. Remember Newgrounds? Anyway, that's autographed by him. I believe Manar, one of my channel members, sent this to me. Thank you for that. And when you talk about the PS2, people always want to know about the heavy hitters. I think I've got like all the heavy hitters. There's God Hand, really cool, kind of beat 'em up, underrated game, very hard game. Flipping Haunting Ground, which is worth like 350 bucks, and I traded a Vectrex for it, which is worth like $850 now, and this is still only worth like 400. Bad deal for me. Here's Kuon, I think the most expensive game on the system. It cost $850 when I bought it. There's the price, I left it on there. I also picked this up on camera on one of my earliest videos, by the way, and I traded some stuff nobody wanted, and I think $600 or $650. Still the most expensive game I've ever bought, but not the most expensive game I own, not by far. Here's Michigan Report from Hell. I reviewed this on this channel. This is a famous, crazy freaking survival horror game in a way, only released in Europe and Japan. And one of my channel members, Crystal, she did a trade with me and she sent me a copy of this game. It's sealed. This game is sealed. This is a sealed copy of Michigan Report from Hell. Like a holy grail game. I wanted to play it so badly that I ended up getting a modded PlayStation 2 that could play burned games and region-free games, so I could burn a region-free copy of this and play it. Thanks for sending this to me, Crystal. Awesome game. And of course, you gotta talk about Rule of Rose. This is not the most expensive or rare game on the system, but it's like kind of considered to be that. It's the most famous rare game on the system. I've also played this and reviewed it on this channel. Cool game, worth the $700 or whatever it goes for as a conversation piece, not as a game to play, okay? This is not a great game to play. I don't care what anybody says. It's weird, it's clunky, it's strange. It's not really very much fun, and it's kind of depressing. But there's nothing quite like it, so I do recommend it. And yes, I'm sitting on the freaking floor in a tuxedo. This is gonna be great. My dry cleaner is gonna love it. Let's talk about the GameCube. Everybody loves the freaking GameCube, and I do too in a way. The problem is, the girl I was dating when the GameCube came out, she had the GameCube, and I bought a bunch of games for it and left them at her house, and then surprise, surprise, she broke my heart and we freaking broke up. So she kept all my GameCube. She stole all my GameCube stuff, okay? So I'm not the biggest fan of collecting for the GameCube. It brings up bad memories, but I still play it and I have some really cool games for it. My favorite game on the entire freaking system is Eternal Darkness. I think this is one of the coolest horror games of all time. You play through multiple generations of people trying to kind of like solve the mystery of what this evil book is, and it's good. If I were to recommend any game on the GameCube, it's Eternal Flippin' Darkness, and it was cheap for a long time. Now it's gotten pricey, but I still think this is the best game. And yes, I've got the Game Boy Player startup disc in the box with the manual and all the goodies, all the fixins. We got that. Yes, I have Fire Emblem, I have Ikaruga, I have Killer 7, I have the Zelda games, Mario Party. I've got most of the good stuff on here. I have almost everything I want. But I want to mention Odama. If you've never played this before, it is like an RPG pinball game that you play by talking into a microphone. And it has a microphone, and you, no joke, strap the microphone to your neck and talk into it so you can have your hands free to use the freaking controller. It's one of the hardest to control games probably ever made, but fascinating. What a fascinating thing. They would never make anything like this. They just wouldn't do it anymore. Down here is also my N64 collection. It's right here, okay? We're not pulling it out, all right? That's the way that is now. Okay. My favorites being Sin and Punishment, the original, and I guess GoldenEye. You know what? I've never played Ocarina of Time. It's in my backlog to play. I should probably play it. It's like the best game ever made, right? So we should probably freaking play Ocarina of Time here one day. So down here in No Man's Land, we have the Vita Collection and the PSP Collection. I like both of those consoles a lot. There are certain games that work great on them. RPGs are fantastic. Flipping any kind of like puzzle game, great. Shoot 'em ups and action games are not great on handhelds, I've decided. It's just the analog sticks are hard to control, the screen's small, it's hard to see what's going on. But one of my favorite games of all time got a physical release only on the Vita, and it's Papers, Please. This is an amazing game where you play as an immigration agent in a made-up company called like Aristotska, and you have to check people's documents for discrepancies to make sure they're not illegally entering the country. And through your efforts, you can choose to side with your country or overthrow your country. And so if you let the right people in, you can lead the rebellion. If you leave the right people out, well, you know, maybe the government takes care of you a little bit better. Fantastic game. There's so many great compilations on the PSP like this. This is the Parodius collection. These are like parodies of Gradius. Parody Gradius, Parodius. And they are these like sexy, cute shoot 'em ups that are super whimsical and they're super fun and they're hard to get for the longest time, but they're like all here on this compilation. Super cool, glad to have it. But it doesn't play Griggs, it's on the freaking PSP. I know you can plug your PSP into your TV and get like a better image of it, but it's not great. It's not great. And of course we got the freaking Atari Jaguar. It's a terrible console and I love collecting for it. It's usually pretty miserable to play, but I don't know. Let's talk about a good game. What's a good game on the Jaguar? I mean, I guess Alien vs. Predator, right? Like, this is pretty decent. Hey, you guys have seen this. This is what's above me when I'm filming the videos. This is just, I put this stuff here because it fit the theme of the top of the shelf. Like, the height of this box and the height of those boxes together, they fit between the shelf and the ceiling. That's why they're there, okay? I didn't pick them for any specific reason. We got the box Jaguar. This is a Panasonic MSX2, which is a early Japanese computer, and I think the first hardware Microsoft ever made. Very interesting. A lot of early games got their start on that, including Castlevania. The first Castlevania games came out on the MSX. These are the Namco light gun games, and they all have like the Gun Con controllers. There's 5 of them. I'm missing one. I'm missing the Time Crisis Crisis Zone, which I've never seen anywhere. I know it exists, but where? I don't know. When I go to conventions, I'm like, have you seen Time Crisis Crisis Zone? Sometimes people will be like, oh, I haven't seen that one in a long time. That's a rare game. Then sometimes people are like, I've never even heard of that. That's one of those, like, I've never even heard of that kind of games. I don't know where I'm gonna find it, but I want to look out for it. If you have a copy and you want to trade it, let me know. Then of course we got the 3DO and N64 over here and random various assorted crap. And of course this wonderful subscribe sign from my buddy Retrobeard. And he made that for me, and I don't know if it does any good, but it helps me if I forget to tell you to subscribe. Which you've done that right, by the way. You've subscribed to the channel. I know you have. You clicked that button just a second ago if you didn't click it like 2 years ago, right? Also, if you haven't, go down there and do that. While you're doing that, leave me a comment, okay? And hype the video for me. I'd appreciate it. This little shelf right here sits here because it fits here. That's the reason for this, okay? It holds my Super Nintendo stuff, and it doesn't even hold it in a way that makes any sense. We got like box stuff here, and then it's like also up here, but then also down here. It's just whatever. Like I have this little rack. I wanted to put stuff in it. It's got some cool games in there, like this game, ActRaiser, which I think is a fantastic game. It's a mixture of a world-building sim and a side-scrolling hack and slash. And it's one of my favorite games on the system. I absolutely love ActRaiser. I also have a lot of like really interesting boxed NES games, like Legend of Zelda. Here's the thing about the Super Nintendo. I like the Super Nintendo. I was a Genesis kid growing up. I've never gone out of my way to buy a complete in box Super Nintendo game. These have all fallen into my lap somehow, excluding the ones that like came from limited run games. But like Super Mario RPG, just like got it in a collection. These other ones, I just found them at like freaking yard sales and stuff. I know that's crazy, but I used to find them all the time. Yeah, we gotta mention Run Saber. Here we go, this is it. An Atlas game, dude. This is like a mixture of like Strider and kind of like Contra, and it's a super fun game. Really flew under the radar. It's not that super difficult, which is surprising because usually Atlas games are like 5 times harder than any other game. Not this one. This one's not that bad. Super fun game. Down there at the bottom, You can see it like way, like down, okay, down there, right there. That is where the DS and the 3DS games live. My favorite DS game and 3DS game is this one, Fire Emblem Awakening. This is my first Fire Emblem game. I still think it's the best one I've played, and it is just really like a magical, great experience. So up here we have console row. I just kind of like, I don't really collect consoles. I like to have a console for every system I own games for, and I want a boxed one. I have most of them boxed, some of them I don't, but there's cool stuff up here. Complete and boxed TurboGrafx 16 up there, along with the PC Engine Duo R, PS4, you know. All the good stuff. That shelf is heavy. I'm in constant fear at all times of this thing falling off the wall, and it may happen in the middle of this video. We'll just have to wait and see. Prominently featured right there, right there. See it right there? That's my Xbox One collection. Okay, I bought the Xbox One the day it came out. I waited in freaking line at midnight and got it and brought it home. And I can't remember if it or the PlayStation 4 came out 1 week earlier. One of them came out like a week before the other one. I'm thinking the Xbox One came out first. I played it for a week and then started playing the PlayStation 4 and then like didn't touch the Xbox One like again for a year. I barely got any games for that system. I just have no interest in really collecting for it. I do have some interesting stuff on it. This is Recore Definitive Edition. And this edition here, I mean, obviously it's an Xbox One exclusive game, but this version was only sold initially at the Xbox company store in Redmond, Washington. You had to like go to Redmond, Washington to the Xbox headquarters to buy this out of their company store, which is really cool. Now you see it floating around a little bit, but my buddy who worked for Microsoft walked downstairs in his building and like bought this for me and sent it to me. Here's the Xbox 360 collection. I've got a lot of Xbox 360 stuff and I love collecting for the Xbox 360. As a matter of fact, when that console was new, it was like my preferred console over the PS3 and the freaking Wii. And I have a lot of really cool games for it, including all of the region-free Japanese shoot-'em-ups. There are a bunch of these made by Cave and other companies, and they put them out for sale worldwide, and they're region-free. They're really cool. So you have Bullet Soul, Dodonpachi Saidai Ojo, Dodonpachi Resurrection, which I think is this SDOJ? I can't remember which one this is. Escados, Espgaluda 2, Ginga Force, and probably my favorite shoot-'em-up of all time, Mushihime-sama Futari. Love this game. I was one of the best players in North America in this game at one point, like one of the only ones on the leaderboards. It's been a while, but I put some time into this game. Moochie Moochie Pork and Pink Sweets, you know, two classic games we've all heard of millions of times. And this, which I consider to be either the rarest or the second rarest game on the entire Xbox 360. This is Tri-Zeal and Delta Zeal. It's a compilation put out by Triangle Games. There's a collector's edition with a gold cover, and that's the most common version of it. The standard edition in gray is rare as can be, and my copy's still sealed. I want to play this so badly, but I just can't. I cannot open this up. And then right here, right under the Xbox 360 collection and above PS5 is the PS1 collection, and it actually goes like across the TV, like it continues over there. Because these shelves, for some stupid flipping reason, have a row of like, these aren't adjustable shelves, okay? They're just, this is the size they are. It's like a bunch of DVD size, and then for some reason just CDs right in the middle. Like why do that? But I got some freaking banger PlayStation 1 stuff. Brigandine, which is one of the best like strategy kind of tactical RPGs on the entire system. Love this game. Elemental Gearbolt, which has an incredible cover. It's a light gun shooter that I bought years and years ago and was very excited about and still haven't played it yet. Both flipping Kingsfield games. These are the predecessors to Dark Souls, and a lot of people, including me, consider these to be part of the Dark Souls series. And Kudelka, which is a really fascinating game. This is the first game in the Shadow Hearts series. So if you've played Shadow Hearts, this is the first game you have to play this one first, because I played Shadow Hearts and reviewed on the channel, and I was super confused because I hadn't played this. I forgot that it was the first one. I just forgot about it. Sorry. Of course, we have like a little Holy Grail game here. This is the Misadventures of Trombone. This is part of the Mega Man Legend series. I actually found this at a thrift store. I know everybody's like, I found all my games at a thrift store for free. Well, I did find this one. This is the one. This is one of the times that actually happened. And I paid $15 for a PlayStation 1 and 3 games, and this is one of the games that was in there. So here we got the PlayStation 5. I actually really like the PlayStation 5. It has some really cool games on it, but like nothing that's super crazy or rare. It has the worst game I've played in years on it, which is Scorn. Freaking hated this game. It's like it's an adventure game like Myst, except it's about not having fun and torturing people, which, you know, if that's your thing, and apparently a lot of the people in the comments, that's definitely your thing. But for, you know, sane people, not necessarily most people's thing. Also, Still Wakes the Deep is supposed to be a really good first-person like horror game that everybody's told me I need to play, and I went out of my way to freaking import this game, and then they re-released it in the United States, and I spent extra money on it again, but I don't regret it. So here's my TV. This is a 4K, it's an LG C1. I believe this is 60 inches. I have another one exactly like it upstairs, which is like 80 something inches. This has been a fantastic TV. I love this TV. I've had no problems with it whatsoever. And below it, down here, are my consoles that I keep hooked up. What do we have going on here? We got the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation VR, there's the Switch 1, the Switch 2 goes there, but it's upstairs. PlayStation 5, the Xbox One, the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and the freaking Wii U, which I don't like, but I have to keep it plugged in all the time, because I don't know if you know this, if you let the battery die on the CMOS battery, the thing bricks itself and you never play it again. Great design, Nintendo. Up here's where I keep the Xbox original stuff. Now, up here above me, above the TV, is where I keep my Xbox games. Now, I never collected for the Xbox back in the day, didn't really care anything about doing it, but once the PlayStation 2 got like expensive and the GameCube got expensive, I was like, we'll just get Xbox stuff. And you know what? It's a fun console to collect for. It's got some really cool games on it. The Call of Cthulhu is an actually interesting one, which is like an H.P. Lovecraft kind of horror game. This is kind of a hard one to find on the system, but I think everybody sort of knows about it anyway. And there are a bunch of these like weird kind of horror games on the Xbox 360, like Curse, the Eye of Isis. Like nobody ever talks about these, but there's a bunch of them. And some like really interesting kind of like beat 'em ups, like Spike Out Battle Street. How much did I pay for this? $220? I don't think I paid quite that much, but that's how much they had the price on it. This is one of the rarer games on the system, super hard to find. I picked it up not that long ago, so I haven't played it, but I feel like the Xbox is kind of slept on and it has some cool stuff. I feel like there's still games on it people just don't know about it. I mean, I'm obviously a big collector and it has a bunch of games on it I didn't even know existed. I still come across stuff and I'm like, what? I had no idea this is on this console. I can't even get it all in the shot. Here is my PlayStation 4 collection. Now, the PlayStation 4 is my favorite console of all time. I have over 500 games for it. Pretty much everything you can think of, I've got it. There's a few games I'm missing that I'm looking for, but there's not many left. I think it's such a great system. I did an entire video talking about how I think the PlayStation 4 is the best console of all time and some of the best compilations, some of the best re-releases, some of the best original games on that console. It has the Aleste collection. This is a collection of freaking Game Gear and Sega Master System shoot 'em ups that are considered to be some of the best ever made and were so hard to find. And not only that, they made a sequel to it, Aleste 3, just for this game, okay? They made a sequel to a 30-year-old game series and it only exists on this compilation. An unbelievably cool game. And there are a bunch of these like shoot 'em up games like Ketsui here, re-released on the PS4. This is one of the hardest games of all time. No joke, one of the hardest games ever made, but they included training modes and easy modes just for the PS4 release, so you can actually learn how to play the game, okay? These are so great. If you like shoot 'em ups, man, the PlayStation 4 is the place. It is the console to learn how to play shoot 'em ups. And I just have to mention, I know this is the most common thing ever, Red Dead Redemption 2, right? But the PlayStation 4 has such amazing games on it. Like, just games like this. This is one of the best games ever made. It's absolutely just mind-blowing how much work went into this. And as I'm looking through these games, I just like glaze over it. There's so much good stuff on the PlayStation 4 that like you just don't even pay attention to some of the best games of all time. Like why mention it? Why even mention one of the most incredible feats of game design ever? Because it's just like, yeah, sure, of course. Of course that console has like 50 of these on it. This little guy right here, this is like a display shelf, and I put some collector's editions and stuff, but I just put like cool stuff on it. We got a boxed Vectrex up there. Don't know how much that's worth, but it is heavy. Probably shouldn't be on top of a glass shelf. And then we have a lot of cool stuff down here. I mentioned this earlier, but here's the first Castlevania. This is Castlevania on the MSX computer, and MSX computer games have actual flippin' cartridges for them. They look like this. I'm a big Resident Evil fan, and this is the Resident Evil PlayStation 2 chainsaw controller, which is really cool. All the little stickers and stuff on it right here, they're all like the stickiness has come off. So all that stuff's like falling off. I need to figure out a way to put that back on. This is a really cool thing. I don't normally buy display pieces like this, but this is one of those I just had to have. Down here we have Castlevania 4 box, Little Red Riding Hood, Zombie Barbecue, Earthbound, Snatcher, and then some really cool artwork that was done by AJT Comics, which is a viewer of my channel. He made an artwork of me, and I love that, so I framed it and I put it in here. Up here in Dutch Angle Land, we have Zelda Breath of the Wild Collector's Edition. Now, I bought this before I ever had a Switch. I bought this like months before I had a Switch, because all the Switches were sold out, but on release day, this came out, and it was just sitting in the store. I thought it was such a beautiful box. I picked it up. We have my box 32X, that's the Doom Edition, with a giant sticker right on the front of it. PS3, the Saturn, and then this is the box for the Marsupial FPGA Mr. console, which is like a emulator console. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I love that thing. I was a Sega Genesis fanboy when I was little. I liked Sega way more than Nintendo because it was edgier and grittier and meaner and faster, right? So they said. Anyway, love the Sega Genesis, still collect for it to this day, and it's one of the things I always look for when I'm out and about. I'm so glad to see that they re-released one of the rarest Mega Drive games, Glaylancer, for the freaking 30th anniversary here. And this is an incredible box, and I love that it came unsealed. The Genesis also has my favorite version of Ghouls and Ghosts on it. The one that's actually like playable and you can beat. I beat this my very first time through on a live stream. If I can do that, you can do it. So if you've ever said to yourself like Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghosts and Goblins is too freaking hard and I'm just not gonna be able to do it, here's your chance to do it. Okay, this is where you wanna play it. Super fun, super great game. I also love that companies like to keep putting out re-releases of rare games from the Genesis and Mega Drive. This is Panorama Cotton. This is a series of cute-em-ups, which is like a cute shoot-em-up that they did, but this one is more like a Space Harrier or Top Gun style gameplay. This game was extremely rare. I think like worth over $600, $700 for a loose cart in Japan, and freaking Retrobit and Strictly Limited just put it out on the freaking Genesis. I love that. I love that they're doing stuff like that. And I think probably my favorite run and gun game of all time got a great release on the Genesis. This is Sunset Riders. I think this game is so much fun. It's so much fun in multiplayer, and I'll never forget the nights I stayed with my buddies playing through this. Fantastic game. Are you guys still with me? Are you still there? If you're awake, put it in the comments down below. I know you guys like to fall asleep during these. But I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to tell you about today's sponsor, Goodiez. If you're thinking to yourself like, man, I wanna buy some freaking games and I just don't know where to get them, where do you get this stuff, RNG? Well, I'm gonna tell you, you get it at Goodiez. It's my favorite online marketplace for buying, selling, and trading games. If you want to trade in a game, just scan it into the app using the scanner. You can scan the barcode, you can scan the cover art. It'll populate it with a list. You can select if you want cash out. If you want to trade it in, you can select the quality of the game to figure out how much you're going to get, trade it in, and then you can use that money to browse all of the thousands of games on Goodiez. They have everything from retro games to new games, and I love that they have discounts on new games. A lot of games that are $60, $70, $80 at the store, well, Goodiez will have them for a little bit cheaper than that, which is why it's where I like to go to pick up my new releases. If you trade in $200 worth of stuff, you get free shipping. If you want to refer someone and get a little bit of referral bonus for them, you can type that in when you trade it in. Goodiez makes it super easy to trade in your games and buy new games and get other people using the app. Future RNG here. I just wanted to share the good news that for the next few weeks, Goodiez, they're not charging any fees. So if it sounds good to you, check the link in the description down below. Thank you so much, Goodiez, for sponsoring this video. Let's keep talking about my game collection. While the PS3 didn't necessarily have like the strongest console library when it came out, and I preferred the Xbox 360, the PS3 had some of the best exclusives of any of the consoles from that generation. You had cult classic games like 3D Dot Game Heroes, which is basically just a Link to the Past mixed with Legos. Freaking Drakengard 3, which is a sequel to two kind of rare PlayStation 2 games and part of the freaking Nier series. Remember Nier Automata that came out on the PS4 that was like Game of the Year? Yeah, well, this is part of that series. Even these like early release hidden gem style games like Folklore came out. That was so much fun. It had so much style, it had so much pizzazz. There still hasn't been anything quite like it. Usually these monster collecting games are like cute and bubbly, but I loved like the darkness of this one and how it was, you know, just not silly. Like so many of those games are just silly. This is not silly. And of course, I have to mention like the best freaking series on the system, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. Just unbelievably good. Of course, you can play them now on the PlayStation 5, you can play them on the PlayStation 4. This is where they came out. And of course, the freaking PlayStation 3 had these beautiful collector's sets, especially in Japan. This is the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus Collector's Edition. Down here we got the Wii and the Wii U, man, and like, if there's one part of this game room I'm not excited to talk about, it's this one. Now, there are great games on the Wii. Of course, you have games like Castle of Shikigami, a pretty obscure game on the system, but a great shoot 'em up and a sequel to a beloved franchise. You have weird underground games that nobody talks about, like Fragile Dreams. This is a very unique game. And it's interesting playing a horror game where you play as a kid. Wii was the home to fantastic franchises that people love now, like Xenoblade Chronicles. But what the Wii really excelled at were light gun games. These games like the Mad Dog McCree Collection, where you aim at the screen and shoot in like a high noon Wild West style shootout. A lot of the games on the Wii were really cheap for a long time, and I can feel they're starting to creep up. People have gotten their fill of the freaking Xbox 360 and its high prices. They've gotten their fill of the PS3 and its high prices, so now they're going to the Wii. And it has a huge collection full of a bunch of stuff nobody knows about, so I have a feeling we're just gonna see the prices go up and up and up. Of course, I've already dogged on the freaking Wii U, but let's talk about it a little bit. Probably the holy grail game on the system is the Devil's Third. Yes, I paid too much for it. Yes, it was $200. Yes, I haven't played it. This is my streaming setup. In case you guys don't know, I live stream on YouTube every couple of weeks, and this is where I sit and play. I do have a CRT here that I use to play retro games, and I have a gaming monitor and another monitor for all the streaming stuff. I do not like this setup, okay? This is a workbench. I bought this because it would hold a ton of weight, and it's overkill. I can't keep things organized. I don't like the way it looks. And I wish this wasn't down here. I wish I had a separate room for live streaming because it's distracting to me to sit on my couch and play a game on my big TV over here and then have this over on the side. Of course, it is handy for collecting gameplay footage and things like that, but I could probably do that on a laptop. Truthfully, I don't know. I gotta figure out a better solution for this. But something I do like is above it I have these shelves with like collector's things. And right up here at the top is my complete Virtual Boy set. I have every single North American release of the Virtual Boy. Jack Bros, there it is. I paid $700 for that. Picked it up live on camera. Wasn't expecting to buy it, but took the opportunity. I also have Waterworld. Here it is, complete in box. This isn't one you see too often. This is Summer Carnival 92 Alzadic, which is a PC Engine game, and it's signed by my buddy Shmup Junkie. Says to RNG Gamer, Shmup Junkie. He's very influential to me, and one of the people that got me into wanting to do YouTube. So thank you for that. Yes, we do have some sealed TurboGrafx 16 stuff here. Ninja Spirit and Broforce are real. The other two are reproductions or homebrews. This is the Castlevania Requiem Collector's Edition. I love this big box. It's one of my favorite things in the entire room. And right next to it are my copies of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I have the US release, I have the Sega Saturn release, and I have the soundtrack. It is my favorite game of all time, so I gave it a place of honor here above my computer desk. And here's my copy of Resident Evil Origins Collection. This is the first Resident Evil game I ever really played and made me fall in love with the series, and it is autographed to me from the voice actress who plays Jill Valentine. And everybody always asks about this. This is the RNG Gamer bobblehead. My wife gave this to me as a birthday present. And I love this thing. It looks a lot like me. It looks a lot like me. It's a very cool little collectible. I'm so glad to have it. Here it is, the best shot in the entire freaking video. Yeah, this is the couch where I sit and actually play my games. Yeah, I play games. I consider myself a gamer more than I consider myself a freaking collector, although this collection is out of hand. This is like a $200 couch. My wife bought it to put in her old office and like didn't really care for it. And so I commandeered it for down here because the couch I had for down here wouldn't fit. When I moved to this house, the other couch, it's too wide. And this is in case you can't tell, you can see behind me, this room is big, but it's long and narrow. And there's just not room to get around a couch. I can barely get around this one. I have this little table here. I put my drinks and stuff on it, and then a blanket. It gets cold down here. But yeah, this is where I sit and play. And I'm only showing this as an Easter egg to the people that made it this far. I always talk about how I buy games and I pile them up in the closet waiting to do game pickups videos. There's the pile. You can't even see it. There's got to be like, what, 60-something games back there? They're just stacked up. We'll get to them eventually. But yeah, I'm still buying stuff. There's this weird shelf right here in the corner. It's where I keep my Neo Geo stuff. I do collect Neo Geo MVS things. But there's some cool games in here. We have all of the freaking King of Fighters games. We have Top Players Golf, which is one of the best golf games ever made. But my favorite Neo Geo game is probably Magical Drop 3. And if you've never seen what a Neo Geo MVS game looks like, they look like this. These huge freaking cartridges. Gigantic. These are arcade games. You can even see I have here's the arcade marquee that you would have put in the top of the cabinet. I play a lot of shoot 'em ups, you guys know that, but here's my joystick that someone designed for me. It's got the RNG Gamer logo and then some custom artwork. This is the main character from that Xbox 360 game, Mushihime-sama Futari I talked about earlier. I did an entire review about these glasses that nobody watched, and I think they are so cool. These are like 3D glasses that you wear that have screens inside of them. And you can literally hook up like an HDMI cable to them and just play your games. I know they look insane. I could take my like PlayStation 5 upstairs or something and like plug it into these and just game in the living room while I'm watching my kids. And what I like about it is normally when I play upstairs, I can't play M-rated games because my kids can't see them. When I play with these, no one can see what I'm playing. So I'm free to play like Silent Hill 2 Remake or whatever on these. I think they're super cool. This massive shelf here is where I put the stuff that won't fit anywhere else, including my big box PC collection. I do collect big box PC games. I have a lot of really interesting ones and kind of obscure ones. Alone in the Dark 2, still sealed. I also have a ton of these little like boxes here from this company called Indie Box. This is like a mail order company where you paid a monthly subscription fee and they would send you a different PC game every month. And they came with like all these collectibles and everything was put on either a like a pressed CD-ROM, or it was done on a flash drive that was custom. And it was really cool, but the problem with it was you didn't know what games you were gonna get. So a lot of people would like sign up for a couple months and then drop it because they got a couple games they didn't like. But I subscribed to it for a long time and I've got a ton of the games for it. It was also the first company ever to release things like the first release of Hollow Knight. Pretty wild. I know Hollow Knight's super collectible and everybody loves it, but this is where it got its first release. I have no idea how much this is worth, but it's gotta be worth an insane amount. I have number 66. There's also weird stuff in here like this. This is a PSX. This is a combination of a PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2 and a DVR. What was so weird about this console is that it basically did everything. It has about 90 connectors in the back, but you could record gameplay footage. Back before Elgato's and before ways to capture gameplay footage, this is the way to do it. These are very rare and hard to find, and no, mine doesn't work because the hard drive in each one of these is encrypted to that one and only console. So the hard drive dies, there's no way to fix it. I know there's some people out there trying to work out a way to get around that, but thus far, nobody's done it. The number one thing people want to see in my game room when they come down here and they've watched my videos before is this right here. This is the Geo Switch Collector's Edition. Now, there are a bunch of shoot 'em ups made by a company called Geo, and they released 3 volumes of the games on the Switch. Okay, there's like 12 games, there's 4 games on each volume. I bought the first collection, I bought the second collection, and then when they announced the third collection, they said that if you paid a little bit extra and you had bought the other 2, you could get a box to hold all 3. I was like, fine. I paid the extra like $20 or whatever it was, and then I noticed the shipping was insanely expensive. Little did I know what was going to show up in the mail. It's this. This is the collector's edition for those 3 games. This was never shown anywhere in any of the pictures, all right? This is the box they showed. This right here, okay? It's got the cool collection. It says volumes 1, 2, and 3. And here are all 3 volumes. They were sold separately. And it's got all the freaking games listed on it. Yet, it came in this giant box, which I can't display, okay? It came with a freaking mouse pad. Look at this mouse pad. What? You can't spring stuff like this on people, all right? My wife was there when I opened this, and she was not happy about it. Here's my Vectrex. Here's where I keep my little handheld games, my Game Boy Advance and stuff. I keep in these little things. I don't really like this system, but that's just, you know, what I've got going. But people ask about this. What are these things? I mentioned earlier this Marsupial 3 console I have that is an FPGA emulator console. Well, it has a Tap2 system in it, which I think they've changed the name to it to like Zappu or something. So what you can do is you can load a ROM onto that console, and then you can write that information to an RFID chip. So here you can see this is like Panzer Dragoon 2 for the Sega Saturn. That console, I can just tap this to it and it boots up the game. So what I did is I reviewed that console and I made a few of these, and I liked them so much that games that are on my wish list that I don't have yet that I want to play, I printed out and made these little cards for them. Well, I had a guy make them for me. Now I have over 80 consoles. You saw a bunch of boxed ones. I used to have all my stuff hooked up down here and you could just play any console you wanted. But my kids kept getting back there and messing with it. They'd unplug stuff. They would hit switches. It just always bothered me. Every time I wanted to play a console, it would take me 40 minutes to troubleshoot and figure out what it was. And there was a fire hazard, and I didn't like my kids back there anyway, plus playing with like outlets, just whatever. So I took all my consoles, I put them in these shelves. And if I want to play one, I just pull it out and hook it up. It takes like 2 minutes. You know, it doesn't take that much time. I've got all the hookups put in the closet over here. Here's my Sony Trinitron. This thing weighs like freaking 250 pounds. This is the TV stand for it. I don't like this TV stand. I do keep a couple consoles down here. I have a PlayStation 2 and a Magnavox Odyssey 2. I do like stickers. People give me stickers, and when I get one, they go on this. And eventually the whole thing is gonna be covered, and we won't have to look at it anymore. It's so ugly. It'll just be a confetti of color, and I love that. And when I sit here and play, I sit in these chairs. Now let me tell you about this chair in particular that I'm sitting in. This is one of these X-Rockers. This thing's cool. I like this chair, but like the fake leather tears. This is a glider. This is the chair that they give to mothers when they have a baby to rock their baby and nurse their baby. And I have a 3-year-old, and so we had a couple of these sitting around, and I put one of them down here. I don't care what anybody says. Gaming chairs, lazy boy recliners, softest couches, the best gaming chair you can buy is a glider. Yes, I play guitar. I am a professional guitarist. I leave this down here because sometimes I play guitar on live streams. That is a Taylor 814 CE, in case anybody wants to know. These are posters done by a company I found on Etsy called Crosmac, and I love Crosmac. These are unbelievably high quality. I think they're all screen printed on like hand-lathed paper. They are just unbelievable quality. Up here we have some more of these Tap2 things and some other interesting little collectibles. I also collect wristwatches, and I have a wristwatch channel called Watch RNG. If you guys want to see my wristwatch content, you can go watch it there. These are like old Casios and stuff like that. You know, unique or interesting watches I find around. Also keep some autograph stuff here. This is a copy of Dolphin Blue, this is a homebrew, and it's autographed by my buddy Radical Reggie. Here's Attack of the Petsky Robots, autographed by 8-Bit Guy. Now in this display cabinet I have a lot of really interesting stuff. We have a PC Engine Duo R, a TurboGrafx 16, the full Sega Genesis 32X Sega CD combo, my Xbox, a top loader, the Action Max. This is my consoleized Neo Geo MVS console. This is an entire Neo Geo MVS arcade cabinet turned into a single console. All your outputs, and you can plug in controllers, joysticks, or Sega Saturn controllers. And I absolutely love this thing. We have the MSX computer, the twin Famicom, a couple of GameCubes, a whole bunch of Atari stuff. But this is my consoleized Sega Game Gear. You can run this as HDMI out, and you can play your Game Gear games on a big TV or capture gameplay footage. And this is the one everybody wanted to mention. This is that Tap2 console that I had. You just take, like I said, one of these little cards, you just go boop and touch it to it, and it just boots the game right up. It's super cool. This is a strange corner back here. This is a strange shot too. Got the PlayStation 5, the Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon Collector's Edition, thanks for that. A little Fender amp that I use for practice. This Last of Us standee, this window unit here that has a heater and a dead bug and a air conditioner on it that I use, and I have central AC down here. Like, it exists, but it just has a hard time keeping up. I made this years ago for fun. I always thought this was kind of cool. I stuck like some of my favorite games from the time period in there, which was like Uncharted and Grand Theft Auto 5. Pretty neat little display. Here's my one and only arcade 1-up console. It's the Final Fight one with Final Fight 1944 Ghosts and Goblins Strider. My kids play that more than I've ever played it, although I think it is pretty cool. And this is my MAME arcade cabinet. It's Ikaruga themed, but Ikaruga has a polarity system, and so there's like a dark polarity and a light polarity, and I represented that on each side with this kind of wrap. This thing has a Raspberry Pi in it, and it is cool. No one ever plays it. Literally no one ever touches this thing. I have not played a game on this or touched it since the last time I did a game room tour in here, okay? And that makes me so mad because I paid so freaking much for this. And I spent so much time setting it up, no one ever touches it. The other night, my family and I, we went out to eat dinner at like a little restaurant that had a few arcade machines in it. My kids saw a Miss Pac-Man and Galaga arcade machine, and then they had like a little multicade. It was like 50 cents a play. They just could not wait to play it. They just had to go play it. Just had to do it. I had to like go freaking break a 20 and like get them money so they could play that. The games are right here. They could play them. They've never once shown any interest in sitting down playing this. But as soon as it costs money and it's at a restaurant, they have to play it. This is the no man's land back here. You can see how deep this is. These consoles up at the top, we have like the Sega CD, the Master System, the Genesis, the other Genesis. And this is the Sega CD stuff. I have a soft spot for the Sega CD. The Kaio Flying Squadron and the Snatcher are not real, by the way. Those were sent to me by Project Retro Games. I really do love the 3DO. I still collect for it. It's hard. The boxes are not all the same size. They're different sizes and different shapes, so it's hard to put them all on a shelf, so that's why they kind of ended up over here in no man's land. I do have a lot of fond memories of this console. This is also where I put my boxed Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color stuff. It just gets kind of like tucked away back here because there's not room for it over on the other side of the room. I don't like having the system split up like this, but this is the only way to do it. I do want to mention Deadiest though on the freaking Game Boy. This is a modern horror game. They got a physical release on the Game Boy, and this game is fantastic. Of course, we have the Sega Saturn. I have a ton of Sega Saturn import stuff. A lot of the games are completely unplayable, but there are a lot of really great shoot-em-ups, like Dodonpachi and Donpachi, like the kind of predecessors of the bullet hell genre, got their start on the Sega Saturn. Of course, we have the US Sega Saturn as well, which I absolutely love, including my favorite game on the entire system, Dragon Force. We also have the Intellivision here, and I have an absolute insane amount of Intellivision stuff for someone who has literally never played a television game in this house. Down here is like the deep cut area. This is where the freaking Nuon games are. The very first console I ever owned was the Action Max, and the way it worked is you just hooked it up to your VCR, and you'd pop in these VCR cassette cartridges, and then you shoot at the screen and it would rack up a score. Nothing you did changed what you saw on the screen. It was just playing a movie. But here are the games. This is what they look like. This is Pop's Ghostly, and it's just a VHS cassette tape. It was a terrible console. It only had like 5 games for it, I think. Anyway, I got it for Christmas or my birthday or something, and my parents tinkered with it one night, and I tinkered with it, and then they returned it the next day. And then that Christmas, I got my NES, and that turned into all this. But this is the first one. I went back and bought it, but this is it, man. There's a renaissance going on right now. It feels like every game is a roguelike or a roguelite. Well, a gentleman made a rogue style game, a roguelike game, using ASCII characters and everything, and put it out on Steam. It was well received, but it only received a physical copy that he sold along with his novel at Dragon Con in Atlanta back in like 2010. And the game is called Ledger Domain. And this is it. This is the physical copy of it. It only exists like this. But here it is. This is the only release of that game. This is really cool. It's probably one of the rarest pieces I own. It's not a super sought after piece, but it's cool that like, I might be one of a handful of people in the world that own this. And people have played it. It's got a lot of reviews on Steam. Of course, we have some Evercade stuff down here and a little bit of Sega Game Gear, 32X, Master System Collection. Like I said, I do collect PC games, and I have a lot of them here from all over the world and stuff, but something I do need to mention are the Toho games. There's an independent game publisher in Japan that puts out this series of games called Toho. And they're called the Toho Project. It follows this cast of whimsical little girls or whatever. Some are witches, some are fairies. I don't know the story. I have no idea what's going on. But he makes games himself, and he publishes them himself. And there are like 20-something shoot-em-ups that he's put out from that series, starting on like the PC-88 computer. And I have every single game that was ever released in the Toho series for PC. A lot of these are still sealed. These are like super hard to track down and import. I'm only showing 3 here. You can see the rest there. They're one of my favorite things to collect for in the entire world of these Toho games. PC games for obscure Japanese shoot 'em ups that are self-published. This This is another level of collecting, and I love stuff like this. And this is one of the only good eBay pickups I was able to freaking find since I've been doing this YouTube channel. I was willing to pay $300 for this at a convention for years, and no one ever had it, and then a copy just popped up on eBay for like 200 bucks. So glad to finally have this. And of course, you have to talk about Typing of the Dead. Everyone has to talk about this game. Who doesn't like a freaking rail shooter where you shoot the enemies by typing words? That's so much fun, dude. So much fun. Only on the Dreamcast, too. And if you made it this far, congratulations, you're about to see the rarest thing I own. This is Hellsinker. And I know this isn't much to look at. It's like a burnt, amber, orange, red case. There was a legendary shoot-'em-up designer who made a bunch of stuff in the underground shoot-'em-up niche, and he created this game called Hellsinker, which was considered to be one of the most insane yet masterfully created yet complicated games ever made, and it has a huge cult following. He had physical editions printed, I think 100 of them, and these were only given out at one convention in Japan one time. This game to this day is considered to be like a must play, like one of the best shoot 'em ups ever and one of the most complicated games ever. It has, like I said, a cult following. These are the only physical copies. And you can play it on Steam. You can download it and buy it right now. But the physical copy, this is it. It has no value. I paid $10 for it. I've been offered $2,500. And I said no. I've had people tell me it's worth $6,000. I've had people tell me it's worth $5,000. I have no idea how much it's worth, but this is it. And then of course we have our TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine collection. A lot of these are really neat. They're made by PCE Works. These guys reproduce and put out like compilations of obscure games. It's very much not, these are definitely bootlegs, reproductions, but I'll tell you this. I've had a lot of PC Engine games, official ones, not work. I've never had one of this guy's games not work. This is a neat one. This is Alien Abduction. This is like the sequel to the best Atari 2600 game, which is Hero. And this is done by John Van Ryzen, and he autographed it for me. If you stuck around with me for the whole thing, thank you so much. I hope you're still awake. I know people love to go to sleep to these, because that's what I like to go to sleep to watching. The names you see on the screen were those of my channel members and my Patreon supporters. For as little as 99 cents a month, they get their names in the videos, they get access to the videos early, they get member exclusive videos. There's a whole bunch of things they can do in the different tiers, and there's a link to that in the description down below. Couldn't do this without them. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.